Have you ever stopped to truly listen to the voice inside your head? That endless chatter that judges you, compares you, fills you with worry, and never seems to shut up? If so, you're not alone. The problem is, this voice isn't just background noise. It's shaping your life in ways you don't even realize. And the worst part? Most people spend their entire lives believing every word of this mental narrative without ever questioning it. But what if I told you that this voice is not you? That there's a way to silence it, and in doing so, completely transform your reality? What no one tells you is that this mental chatter isn't harmless. It's dictating your happiness, your decisions, your stress levels, your success, and even your health. Have you ever noticed how, after a day filled with negative thoughts, you feel drained, unmotivated, and out of sync? That's because your mind is consuming your vital energy. But what if there were a way to quiet this voice and finally experience a level of peace you've never felt before? The shift happens the moment you stop arguing with your own mind and start observing it. This may sound simple, but it's one of the most powerful skills you can develop. Once you understand this principle, a whole new world opens up. Your emotions stabilize, your decisions become clearer, and most importantly, you free yourself from the mental weight you've been carrying for so long. Want to learn how to do this in practice? Stay with me until the end, because what you're about to discover could change the way you live your life forever. Your thoughts are not you. The voice in your head never stops. It narrates every step of your day, judges your actions, and creates fears, many of which aren't even real. But here's the breakthrough. That voice is not you. Sounds confusing? Think about it. If you can hear it, then who is the you that's listening? This is the first step to mental freedom, understanding that your mind speaks, but you don't have to believe everything it says. Imagine a radio playing in the background. Just because it's on doesn't mean you have to listen. But do you really know how to turn it off? When left unchecked, the mind can become a silent enemy. It replays past mistakes, imagines worst-case scenarios about the future, and in the process, drains your energy and steals your peace. But what if, instead of reacting automatically to every thought, you simply noticed it? This is the secret few people ever master. You are not a prisoner of your thoughts. It's like watching a movie. You can get lost in the story, or you can remember that it's just a projection on the screen. But how do you take the next step and let these mental projections pass without letting them control your life? The difference between being trapped in your mind and breaking free lies in your awareness. The one who notices the thought has power over it. The one who believes it's real becomes its prisoner. So the real question is, how can you train your mind to stop mistaking thoughts for absolute truth? There's a method that completely rewires this mental game and teaches you how to free yourself from the endless inner chatter. And the key to it lies in a skill that very few ever develop. Do you want to know what it is? Watching the mind like a movie. Imagine your mind as a movie theater. Thoughts appear like scenes playing on the screen, some dramatic, others amusing, and some completely absurd. The problem is that instead of watching the film, most people become the characters themselves, living out every scene as if it were real. But what if, instead, you simply observed? What if you just noticed what was playing without getting emotionally involved? This is the secret to gaining control over your mind, watching your thoughts like a spectator without getting pulled into the storyline. But is it really that easy to detach from your own mental movie? Most people live on autopilot, unaware that they are fully immersed in their thoughts. When a negative thought arises, nothing ever works out for me, I'm not good enough, things will never change, they accept it as absolute truth. But what if, instead of blindly believing, you started asking, is this really true? Does this thought serve me or limit me? This simple shift in perspective allows you to make wiser decisions, aligned with reality, rather than being manipulated by mental noise. But if observing is the first step, how do you actually weaken the grip these thoughts have on your daily life? The key is to become a conscious observer. Instead of fighting your thoughts or trying to suppress them, just notice them, like clouds passing in the sky. Meditation, deep breathing, or even writing down your thoughts can help create this distance. When you realize that a thought is not a decree but simply a passing event, it loses its power over you. But then comes the bigger question. If thoughts are just fleeting clouds, what lies beyond them? The answer is something few ever truly see. Clouds versus the sky. Thoughts come and go like clouds in the sky. Some are light and gentle, while others are heavy and stormy. But here's a question few people ever ask. If thoughts are the clouds, then who is the sky? The answer is both simple and profound. The sky is your awareness, your true essence. It is always there, unchanging, while thoughts pass through. But the problem is, most people spend their entire lives focusing only on the clouds, forgetting that they are, in fact, the sky itself. And when you identify solely with your thoughts, you end up living in a state of constant mental turbulence. So, is there a way to see beyond the clouds? The key is to step back and realize that you don't have to engage with every thought that arises. If a dark cloud appears, a thought of fear, doubt, or insecurity, it doesn't have to define your day. You can simply let it pass. Imagine lying in the grass, watching the sky. A dark cloud drifts in. What happens if you just wait? Eventually, it moves on. The same is true for thoughts. But how do you develop this ability to detach from mental clouds and keep your inner sky clear? The first step is to train your awareness to recognize the difference between thought and reality. Practices like meditation, mindfulness, and even gratitude help cultivate this clarity. As you strengthen your awareness, you begin to see that you don't need to fight the clouds. You simply acknowledge them and let them go. And the more you practice, the more spacious and peaceful your inner sky becomes. But if the clouds aren't the real problem, then what truly blocks mental clarity? The answer lies in what happens when everything finally becomes still. Silence leads to clarity. Have you ever noticed how muddy water becomes crystal clear when left undisturbed? The mind works the same way. When it's constantly stirred up with restless thoughts, everything feels chaotic and directionless. But when you allow silence to settle in, clarity naturally emerges. The problem is, many people fear silence, because it forces them to face what's truly inside them. Yet, it is precisely in this quiet space that the answers you seek are waiting. So the real question is, how can you access this state of calm when your mind feels like it's always shouting? The key is to create moments of stillness throughout your day. You don't need to spend hours meditating to experience the benefits of mental silence. Small pauses of awareness can make all the difference. For example, before reacting to a negative thought, stop and take a deep breath. Observe what's happening inside you without immediately engaging with it. This simple act of presence breaks the automatic patterns of the mind. Over time, this practice shifts your perception and gives you a level of control that few ever attain. But if silence brings clarity, how can we use it to treat ourselves with more kindness? The answer lies in how we respond to our own thoughts. If a friend were going through a hard time, would you judge them or offer support? So why be so harsh on yourself? Mental silence is not just a space of clarity, it's an invitation to self-compassion. And this internal shift is what truly transforms your journey. But if you think being kinder to yourself is just a minor detail, wait until you understand the profound impact it can have on your life. Self-compassion as a key. The way you talk to yourself changes everything. If your mind were a person, would it be your best friend or your worst enemy? For many, Self-criticism is so harsh that no one else needs to tear them down. Their own inner voice does the job. But here's the secret. That harsh voice is not your true essence. It's just a reflection of old patterns. And what happens when you start responding to yourself with kindness instead of judgment? The transformation is profound. But how do you break this cycle and turn your mind into a safe space for yourself? It all starts with becoming aware of what you tell yourself every day. When you make a mistake, is your first instinct to call yourself a failure? Or can you treat yourself the way you would treat a friend? Self-compassion doesn't mean making excuses. It means learning, growing, and evolving without carrying unnecessary weight. Try something simple. The next time you catch a self-destructive thought, replace it with a supportive one. Instead of "I'm terrible at this," try "I'm learning, and every step forward counts." It may seem small, but this subtle shift has a massive impact on your emotional state. But if the way you treat yourself changes everything, imagine what happens when you also learn to trust the flow of life. Self-compassion creates space for something even more powerful: surrender. When you stop fighting against yourself, you start to realize that you don't have to fight against life either. There is a natural flow to things, but most people spend their lives swimming against the current. And when you learn to let go of control and trust the process, life begins to unfold in a way that feels surprisingly effortless. Trust in life's flow. The greatest illusion of the mind is believing it needs to control everything. Planning, predicting, and anticipating every detail may bring a temporary sense of security, but in reality, it only creates anxiety and frustration. Life has its own natural flow, and the more you try to hold the reins of everything, the more resistance you create. Have you ever noticed how things seem to work out better when you relax and allow life to unfold naturally? This doesn't mean being passive. It means learning to take action without obsessing over the outcome. But how do you let go of control without feeling like you're losing direction? The answer lies in trust. Trusting that, even if things don't go exactly as you envisioned, they may unfold in an even better way. Think about moments in your life when something didn't go according to plan, but in the end, turned out to be a blessing in disguise. Life is always reorganizing itself in your favor, even when you can't see it in the moment. So the real question is, are you willing to release your anxiety about the future and allow opportunities to reveal themselves at the right time? This kind of surrender doesn't happen overnight. It's something you cultivate through practice. Small acts of releasing control, like trusting your intuition, practicing gratitude for what is already unfolding, and embracing challenges as part of your growth, make all the difference. When you stop swimming against the current and learn to move with it, everything flows with greater ease. But this mindset shift doesn't happen instantly. It builds gradually, moment by moment, until one day, you realize your life feels clearer, lighter, and full of endless possibilities. Transformation over time. Changing the way you relate to your mind isn't something that happens overnight. Transformation is subtle, gradual, and often almost imperceptible at first. But every time you choose to observe your thoughts instead of reacting automatically, a new space opens up. Every moment you practice self-compassion instead of self-criticism, your vibration rises. And when you learn to trust the flow of life instead of trying to control everything, you realize you're living with much more ease. But does this change truly last over time? The answer is yes. If you keep applying it. The problem is, many people give up before they see results. They practice mental stillness for a while, but when challenges arise, they fall back into identifying with a storm of thoughts. But it's precisely in those moments that the practice becomes even more valuable. Like any habit, mental reprogramming requires consistency. Small daily actions, like mindful breathing, journaling your thoughts, or simply choosing not to believe everything your mind says, create a powerful ripple effect. And before you know it, the change has already happened. But how do you know if you're truly evolving? The signs are unmistakable. Less emotional reactivity, more clarity in decision-making, a lighter energy, and an increasing sense of peace. What once triggered you now simply passes like a breeze. What once felt impossible now becomes a real possibility. And then, one day, you realize, you are no longer a prisoner of your mind. You are, in fact, creating a new reality for yourself. But if everything starts in the mind, what's the next step to turning this energy into real change in the world around you? The time to stop being hostage to your mind is now. Now that you understand how the voice in your head has been controlling your life, tell me, will you continue to be its prisoner, or will you finally take control? The choice is in your hands. The first step is simple. Start observing your thoughts instead of reacting to them automatically. What would happen if, instead of getting lost in mental chaos, you chose peace? How would your life change if, for the first time, you experienced true silence within your mind? If you're ready to take this journey further, watch the video How to Talk to the Universe Correctly in the card above. There, I share powerful insights to help you take the next step in your transformation. And if this video helped you in any way, return the energy. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss new content. More than that, share this video with someone who needs to hear this today. It might be the missing piece that changes someone's life. After all, knowledge only has value when it's shared. Now, tell me in the comments, *, what was your biggest realization today?